Back again with the Just Listen podcast. This is your boy Walt, and I just want to talk about the minimum wage. We have an issue here in America. We do, and it's wealth inequality. It's the issue with people having to work one, two, sometimes even three jobs just to make ends meet. Make ends meet in regards to making sure that they have food on the table, making sure they have a little bit of money in their pocket, and also making sure that they have money to pay their bills. We are in a time frame where the rich continue to get rich. And I've talked about this before. I've talked about this in previous videos with oligarchy. I've talked about it before in regards to how the minimum wage and unemployment benefits suck in regards to you trying to get unemployment and having to get that little bit of a check. And, whenever you lose your job and you have to go into the unemployment system in regards to being able to get by and pay your bills. You see, we have, it's crazy that we're in 2025 now, and we have so many homeless people, so many people that cannot afford a home, cannot afford a place of living. And then we have people in administration that are talking about jailing homeless people. And I believe Elon Musk said something about that too. But we're not going to dive into that today. Today, I just want to talk about the minimum wage by each state and the issues that we have when it comes to the cost of living to be able to, just live. I am one of those people that I used to, I've been in a rough position to where I've had to work a couple of jobs, or hell, I had to borrow money, things like that. And I thank God that I was able to get out of that situation with a strong supporting family and definitely a strong supporting wife. She wasn't in that situation, but I was, being a young guy, being a young man, and just trying to figure out how to make money, which I worked. I didn't do it the illegal way. And also being able to try to manage my money to take care of my necessities, my rent, keeping up with my car payments, car insurance, and so on. But yeah. So without further ado, we're going to dive into some of the things that I have an issue with when it comes to minimum wage, because it should be higher. My man Bernie Sanders said that the federal minimum wage should be $17 an hour, no matter what job you're working. And I absolutely believe that. I am a firm believer in that. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, yellow, green, purple, blue, whatever color you are. There is inequality when it comes to the rich to the poor. So with that, without further ado, do me a favor and just listen to this video. Watch this video. I appreciate you sticking with me on this because I am a passionate person. I try to love all, but also I want to get the message out that people aren't really talking about, besides the they call them the liberals. The left-wing people are telling you things that you need to know. And it doesn't matter what age you are. If you're 18 watching me right now, listen to it. Check this out, because I want you to be able to understand. If you're a man or woman, listen to this, and I want you to be able to understand. But also, this is for those that are of legal age to work. Specifically, they say 16 now, but I don't agree with that. But you are considered an adult, so 18 and beyond. So, like I said, do me a favor and like and subscribe as well. I'm going to be pushing out videos, whether people watch them or not, whether people give me thumbs up or not, because I love doing this. And I love researching and getting information pertaining to just life in general. So let's dive into it. We're going to look at a map of the minimum wage per state. And then we're going to take a look at the cost of living per state. We're going to look at that too, because they say your biggest asset is purchasing a home. That's your biggest asset. And we have people that cannot purchase a home. Hell, we have people that can't even afford their rent because it just skyrockets. We have these private real estate companies that are buying up homes and then they're renting them out to where that individual, they're basically wasting their money on renting. And my wife and I, we had to do that for a little while until we were able to, really save and things like that. And then we bought our own home. But that's one of the issues that we have with privatization when it comes to, how the economy is being built. We have private companies buying up stuff and then renting and then making an individual who is, they can't even afford to pay their rent sometimes, which sucks. And then you got HOA, which we won't talk about that, but I can't stand HOA. Without further ado, let's dive into this really quick. We're going to look at this map here. And in this map, you can see the gap between 725. And this is January 2025 that we're talking about here. You can see that the 725 map, the breakdown of it. And I get it. Not every state, there is a difference when it comes to the cost of living. And we're going to look at that as well. But this comes from the Wikipedia. So as you can look up this information yourself as well. But just look at that, man. Just look at how crazy it is that we still have states that the minimum wage is $7.25, and best believe those minimum wage jobs that are $7.25, they are very strenuous jobs. They are probably jobs that you're working in the warehouse. You're also working on temp services where you're a temporary employee. And so the minimum wage, it's ridiculous, man. It's definitely ridiculous. And as you can see here, let's talk about some of the places that are $7.25. First, we'll talk about my home state, Kentucky, where I went to school at, not the University of Kentucky, but the University of Louisville. Go Cards. $7.25. It's $7.25 an hour. And we're going to talk about cost of living too and point out some of the particular states, but $7.25 doesn't work. I'm sorry. I know renting there might be different, cheaper, whatever it is, but it just doesn't work, man. You have people that are working several jobs just to get by. You have people that are, they're struggling. They're honestly struggling in regards to, just living, man. The economy is skyrocketing, but the minimum wage gap is not increasing as well. I'm a firm believer that all these maps and all these numbers here should be $17 an hour. You can disagree with me on that, but that's my honest opinion and my honest feeling. The way that we can succeed as a society, the way that we're able to, invest in building up the economy, bringing more money into the economy, is if people were getting paid more money. But as we all know, the millionaires and billionaires that are CEOs of these big company people, their bonuses are millions of dollars each year, year over year, or quarter over quarter. Their bonuses are more than 50 of their employees who are getting paid $7.25 an hour in a 10-year time frame span. It's really amazing how we in 2025, the minimum wage is still not even in the tens. Kentucky $7.25, Indiana $7.25, Alabama $7.25. Georgia is $7.25. And Georgia has a big booming city, Atlanta, and the minimum wage is $7.25. Now I know we have those rural areas and all that kind of stuff, and they might be farm workers or people that work in particular areas in regards to it, but $7.25. Florida raised their minimum wage up to $13, which is okay. But I live in Florida, and the prices of homes, the prices of everything is expensive. Gas here is 30 cents higher than it is when I cross over to Georgia. Food is expensive. The cost of living is expensive. It's as expensive as being in California. And I know California is super expensive. You got San Francisco, you got Los Angeles, those areas, San Diego. I know that it's super expensive there, but I do believe that Gavin Newsom is trying to make it better when he is trying to, I think he raised the minimum wage up to $20 an hour, which, that's pretty good, but it's still tough because California, their homes, a 4-bedroom home might be $1 million. So with California, we know that California, there's a lot of money there. There is a lot of money in California. And you have the tech industry boomed in California. Whereas in Florida, you have a lot of people that's moving to Florida. They mainly coming from the West. And we got a lot of people coming from New York. But when it comes to Florida itself, it's a tourist state. We have Busch Gardens. We have Disney. We have so many things here. We got 3 NFL teams here with the Dolphins, the Jaguars, and the Buccaneers. We got baseball teams here. We got the University of Florida. We got Florida State. We got the University of Miami. We got a lot of things here where people come and visit. And mainly Orlando and Miami are the 2 biggest places that people come to visit. And $13 an hour is still not enough for people to get by. They still have to work several jobs in regards to getting by. When you look on this map here and you look at let's say the comparison and contrast, the red states versus blue states, let's just say. And in the red states, you see a lot of 725. Whereas in the blue states, you see a higher minimum wage than 725. And listen, I'm not knocking red states, but we know that there are many issues in our country and in our world. But when we look at education, when we look at quality of life, we look at happiness, a lot of the red states are at the bottom of the list when it comes to it. And we're going to talk about the cost of living per each state here pretty soon. So I believe that the minimum wage should be up to $17 an hour. And then depending on the state you live in, like a California, it could be $22 an hour for people to be able to get by. We're all still struggling here to a certain aspect in regards to just trying to pay our bills and be happy. We have issues, man. We definitely have issues, but it's the oligarchy that is controlling things. The rich continue to get rich while we get poor. And not only on top of that is the tax bracket, let's just say, where corporations get a tax break and want that to be permanent. But us lowly people here at the bottom of the totem pole, that expired. That expired, I believe, back in 2022 for the tax breaks. But the rich, they want to do a permanent tax break, making it more that the middle class and lower class pays more in taxes. And then the corporations or the big people like Bezos and Zuckerberg and even Elon, well, I don't even want to talk about that guy, but you know what I mean. When it comes to it, they get a return, a huge return at that. So let's just talk about one more thing here. And I'm trying to breeze through this, but I love talking and I love just reaching out to you guys because we have to be in this together. Because we know that there are people out there. We know that there are individuals out there that only are out there for themselves. They are. But let's shoot over here to ranking each state cost of living here real quick. And then we will wrap it up. But listen, I will be going live sometime soon. I got to find out the right time to do so because, life be life, and like my bishop would say. But listen, hey, ranking each state, the cost of living. I'm going to talk about a couple, but then, you guys can take a look at this as well. You guys can look this up, but this is on motomortgage.com. And all you have to do is type in ranking the cost of living by each state. And, basically we have some of the states like Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, South Dakota, Iowa. These are red states. These states here, of course, the cost of living is going to be different because, who's moving there? Really, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. Who's moving there? I mean, not me. I hate it or love it. I know I live in Florida, but there were many blessings that happened to my wife and I down here in Florida in comparison to being in Kentucky. But in our fields, it was a high demand, and it still is a high demand. But when it comes to, let's say, Kentucky, typical home values are $208,000. Yet the minimum wage is $725. Renters pay a median of $13.57, but the minimum wage is still $725. The median annual income wage is $43,730, which is not true, because if you're only getting paid $725, let's calculate that up here. I'm gonna just do a calculation real quick in regards to it. 725 times 80 times 26. Okay. $15,080 if you're getting paid $725 a year. And this is a year in the state of Kentucky. Do you think that person can own a home for $208,391? Do you think that they can actually afford to live in rent a home or an apartment that's $1,357? Let's go to my state, Florida here, okay? Let me go to my state, Florida. Whoa, let's keep on going over here. Oh my goodness. Woo! Florida, the typical home value is almost $400,000. And this is after the pandemic, mind you. But when it comes to the pandemic, there could have been a lot of things that could have been better for us here. A lot of things if we had if the pandemic wasn't so politicized, because you had people that they wouldn't take the vaccine. You had people that didn't want to wear masks. You had the like. So it was definitely politicized to where it affected us as American people in regards to the economy and how it is right now, with people having issues with the economy. Hopefully it'll get better, but I don't know. I can't tell you that it's going to get better. We'll just have to wait and see. Okay. But Florida, almost $2,500 a month in renting. And you know why? And I'm going to tell you why here, because I see it. A lot of the homes in my neighborhood, they're not bought. They're rented. A lot of the places that are being built, we have a lot of apartment complexes that are being built here. We came in Florida in 2015. And in 2015, I can just tell you this. There was a lot of trees. There was a lot of land. There was a lot of space where our animals, the ones that we can't domesticate, can run around and do their own thing. Well, that land where it was a whole bunch of trees was chopped down, smooth paved, and apartment complexes were built. And these are nice apartment complexes, nice condos. And guess what? Those condos that are being built is raising the value for homes, or the places that are being rented raises the value of homes. And I'm going to blame it on the state, honestly. You can blame it on the state yourself, wherever you're at. But whoa, man, that's expensive. I mean, look, like I said, minimum wage should be increased. And that's the message of this video, is that it should be increased. And we have to, that's my take on it. I mean, I can't really explain or talk more about it, because I can only pray and hope that it will take place and it will change, because 725 is not cutting it. That's why we have a lot of, younger individuals. You might be young yourself. You might be 18. You might be 20. You might even be 25 or 26 who are living with your parents because you can't afford to be out on your own. And it's because of the minimum wage, for one. I know the economy is another thing, but also it's just so hard. You can't find a place that is going to be affordable for you. Appreciate you sticking with me. This is Walt with the Just Listen podcast. This is talking about the minimum wage issue. If you like what you heard, subscribe to the channel. Post in the comment section what you think. What do you think the minimum wage should be? Do you think that we're going to get better here, or is it going to get worse in comparison to other countries? And I'm talking about other first world countries. Peace out. Peace. Before you click away, Hear me out. Thank you for joining me on the Just Listen podcast. You know, everybody has a story to tell, and my stories are about my experiences in life and also the things that I see around the world. Now, in our country, we are in a polarizing time politically. People are being told one thing where another thing is happening. So, what I bring to you is my personal experiences, my research, and my knowledge in regards to things in life that happens. Now, not everybody's story is going to be the same. However, we all have to live, and we want to live a fruitful and longevity in life. And so, with this podcast here, this podcast is not just for the men and women. This podcast is for the young man and the young woman that's trying to figure out things in life because we all had to figure out something, right? So, with that being said, let me know what you think about any of the videos. Check out my videos and also go ahead and like and subscribe. Post a comment. I will reply back. I'll do the best that I can to reply back. However, with this podcast, this is something great for everybody to be able to live and experience and get their voices out because we definitely need the voices out there. We're getting told things that are incorrect. We're getting told things that scare us. With this particular podcast here, I'm going to let you know the truth and how I feel and what I see in the world. Go ahead and subscribe.